Today is lesson 4. ST 3.4. Okay, now this is 67, chapter 4. Sankharupapati Sutta. It's quite a big word, huh? Sankhara Upapati Sutta. The discourse on rebirth through aspiration. Okay? The easy word here, of course, sutta. You all know sutta originally means thread. Okay? The thread of teachings, thread of words. The thread goes back right to the Buddha's time. Sankhara has many meanings. Sankhara, for example, means all the actions that we do. The three kinds of action: mental, verbal, speech, and bodily. Okay, body, speech, and mind. Those are called the three doors of karma. They are also called sankhara. And then you have sankhara mainly as your ideas. You create ideas in your mind. Okay, and the sankhara moves on life after life, so to speak. So here, sankhara has a special meaning of aspiration. Aspiration means you determine, you want something, you put your mind to it. You know, after a few decades of studying all these Pali and sutras, I've discovered that Pali is not like modern English. It's definitely not a technical language. Science uses technical language because you need to be very sure of what you're doing. Science is measurement. You want to put current through a wire, you want to build spaceship to fly to Mars, you've got to be very exact. Okay? But when you love someone, when you're kind to someone, when you want to tell people to be happy, you can't measure. You just say things. You tell stories. You talk in metaphors. Metaphors, that means you use comparisons, you use stories, you use pictures, you use analogies, things like that. Yeah. Especially when people are in love, they say, "Oh, I love you like this, like that. I'll give you the sun, the moon." After they're married, it's another story. When you're happy also, when you're happy, it's very difficult. When somebody say, "How do you feel?" The best answer is, "I don't know. I don't know how to describe." Because you're so happy, you don't think. No more thinking. Because thinking means you make use of the eye, ear, nose, tongue, body. You experience senses. But when you're happy, it's mainly mental. Okay? It's so very joyful. So your mind, why is your mind so happy? Your mind is free from the 5 servants, the 5 eye, ear, nose, tongue, body. You don't have to process all these experiences. You are free. So you're very happy, So imagine those monks who do deep meditation jhanas, their mind is pure mind, free of the body. You sit meditation, you feel so tired, so painful, because the body is physical, earth element, water element, fire element, wind element. So they're not stable. So the body creates a lot of pain for us, physical pain. So once you go into deep meditation, the mind let go of the body, let go of the senses, pure mind. So that's called jhana. Okay. So this is what the Buddha is trying to tell the monks. You practice jhana, then you'll be free from the body. Body also means bodily pleasure, sexual pleasure. You're free from it. You don't need it anymore because you have a higher bodiless joy, mental joy. Okay, so you're very happy. So here sankhara means it's a special meaning, right? Of directing your mind in a certain way. You want to be reborn in a certain place. Okay? Provided the place exists. If the place doesn't exist, you start wishing it won't happen. Then you'll be probably reborn in the lower worlds, subhuman world, so preta and animal and so on. So the sutta here describes the places we can be reborn in. But there's a surprise at the end. We'll find out what the surprise is later. So those are the... upapati means to arise again, to be reborn. Okay? Upapati. There are many words for rebirth. No? Another term is punabhava, for example. Right? So my point here is that when you translate Pali, when you read Pali, you got to read contextually. This is what I've called the rule of contextuality. Context. It's not just words. You got to ask the words in this context. What does it mean? Okay, the Buddha is using the word in a different way. Okay, for example, in the Dhammapada Sutta. There is one verse very interesting. The verse says, "The true saint is asada, without faith." And say, "Hey, this is strange." The Buddha talks about faith, but here the Buddha says the true saint is without faith, asada. Okay, and then even Sariputta Sariputta is the wisest of the monks. And then Chitta, the wisest of the laymen, also talk like this. They say, it is not true faith in the Buddha that we have attained this awakening. See? But remember, when you say not out of faith, doesn't mean has no faith. It means not using faith. This is the thing. Language is very clear here. It is not true faith that Sariputta was awakened. It's not through faith that Chitta, the householder, attained high levels of attainment, attained jhana even. Not through faith. Through their own effort. Through wisdom. And then after that, they have faith in the Buddha. Okay? So we're talking about sequence here. So it's very interesting. Sometimes, of course, if you just read, you say, how can this probably is not right, how can the Buddha say no faith? You must see the context. Okay, so a lot of scholars they know the word, but they're not Buddhists, so they try to read the sutta as words. You can't just read the sutta as words. You must also read the sutta as experience, and that part is very difficult for them. Okay, so this is where, as a Buddhist, you practice your meditation, you have advantage. You know the word and you know the meaning also. Okay, word and meaning, very important, right? For example, you read newspaper, all those articles. That's what the report tells you. Well, next thing you must ask yourself, what does all this mean? Say, what does all this mean? Okay, meaning is, where is it leading us? Okay, what's going to happen? Right? Okay, so the English translation, the discourse on the rebirth through aspiration. You set your mind in a certain way. You can get that rebirth if you want. Remember, I've been telling you, practice impermanence and aspire to be a stream winner in this life, and you'll be able to do that. Not because I say so, but the Sutta S25.1, Anicca Chakku Sutta, tells you that you can aspire to become whatever you want. No need to chant mantra, you just mentally tell yourself. Yeah? But remember, the Buddha has not finished talking in the sutta yet. You must listen carefully until the end. So don't go away halfway, then you miss the real meaning and purpose of the teaching. Let's look at the sutta now. Verse 1. Thus have I heard, at one time the Blessed One was staying in Anathapindika's park in Jeta's Grove near Savatthi. Okay? This is page 71. Is it 71? Yes. Okay, yeah. First verse. I think some book 70. You can see the translation, the title there. All same. Okay, then the Blessed One addressed the monks thus. Got it? Anyone lost? No. Bhikshus. This is the Pali is bhikkhu. It's in English. Bhante means sir, venerable sir. The monks answered the Blessed One in assent. The Blessed One said this, so he's going to teach the Dhamma. Bhikshus, I will teach you rebirth through aspiration. Listen well, pay close attention, I will speak. Okay, so the Buddha sending out message already. We call this a tagline. Message coming, get ready, Yes, Bhante, the monks replied. Oh, can you imagine 500 monks sitting down, they say, Ama Bhante, together. Right? The Blessed One said this. Okay, this is the syllabus. Here, bhikshus, a monk is accomplished in faith, accomplished in moral virtue, accomplished in spiritual learning, accomplished in charity, accomplished in wisdom. Then this occurs to him. Okay, what now if after death, with the bodies breaking up, I would arise in the company of wealthy kshatriyas? He fixes his mind upon it, resolves his mind upon it, cultivates his mind upon it. Okay, so this is called aspiration. You think about it. Usually at the end of your meditation, you've done something good, you think about this. These aspirations and this abiding. Okay, aspiration is the thinking, directing your mind. Abiding means your practice, keeping the precepts and the 5 qualities mentioned in section 3. Okay. Thus cultivated, thus often developed, leads him to be reborn there. This bhikshu is the path, the way that leads to rebirth there. Okay, this is the first part. The Buddha sometimes is humorous. He pull our leg a bit, so to speak. The Buddha say, okay, you want to be reborn in the rich kshatriya family? Kshatriya, in modern times, this will be the powerful politician family. Singapore will be the Lee family. Okay? So, but there are conditions, There must 5 things you must practice properly, right? That's section 3. You must have faith in the 3 jewels. That means you think the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, your mind is peaceful. Number 2, you keep the precepts, moral virtue, so that your mind doesn't get worried and feel guilty. And you must have learning, spiritual learning, so that your mind don't get doubt and fear. You know what is right, what is wrong, spiritual learning. And then charity, you must practice generosity, have good connection with other people. Finally, you need wisdom. You must understand the nature of impermanence. Okay? You see, a lot of people, they only listen, they say, oh, Buddha say you must have this 5 things, faith, moral virtue, spiritual learning, charity, wisdom, that's all. They don't remember the details, I think the Buddha knows this, because the details actually will make you end up as a stream winner anyway. This is the interesting part, you see. But the Buddha is not telling you. Because tell too many things, people get scared also, get confused. So the Buddha said, okay, you keep all these things first, okay? Then you'll be reborn among the rich kshatriyas. Now he's not wrong, you see, but he says you can be reborn in these kind of places, but then think about it, you think the problem will be solved, you think all these political families, they are really happy, so much problems, right? So this is where, be careful what you wish for, in other words. So basically the Buddha is saying, if you practice all these 5 virtues, you wish for this kind of rebirth, you get it. Because your mind is going in that way. Alright? So remember, this is the first key passage, the template. After that, everything kind of repeats itself, the keyword will change. Alright? Now look at section 4 now. Then again, bhikshus, a monk is accomplished in faith, moral virtue, spiritual training, charity, and wisdom. So everything is repeated here, the 5. Notice here, to save space, I put them all in one line. Can you see the words are italicized, crooked? This is called italic. Italic is adjective for Italy, by the way. Because the Italians, they write their letters, we say sengit in Malay, like what they call it, a little bit slanted. So this is called italic or italicized. Whereas the other kind of letters which are straight up, this is how they do it in Rome. So it's called Romanized. Okay, Romanized spelled with a small r, italic spelled with a small I. Okay, so this is the italicized words means they have been repeated. So you look above, you can see the section 3, all those items are given there. Moral, faith, moral virtue, and so on. So again, bhikshus is accomplished on those 5 virtues. And this occurs to him, what now, if after death, with the bodies breaking up, I will arise in the company of wealthy Brahmins. So I want to be reborn among the rich Brahmins. Brahmins are the priests. Okay, today the Brahmins would be the educated upper class, all those professors and lecturers, people who get interviewed on about some things, right? So that kind of family. Yeah? So you can be reborn there also, if you want. All right. Now after this, everything kind of repeats itself, right? So now section 5. So here I will summarize for you. So the Buddha say, okay, if you practice all these 5 qualities, faith, moral virtue, spiritual learning, charity and wisdom, and you say, I want to be reborn amongst in the company of the wealthy house lords. See 5.2, section 5.2, the bold print, the company of wealthy house lords. Who are these wealthy house lords? They are the rich businessmen, landed people. They're called house lords because they got a house, they got land. Okay? These are the people who live in the bungalows, like the old part of Singapore. You see the kind of, those are house lords, okay? So yeah, so you can join them. But then usually you find their houses quite empty, occupied by mosquitoes. You know? Anyway, so you can wish for that if you want. Alright, so teaching not finished yet. Then next one. Now, the teaching goes out of this world. So far, the Buddha stopped there, where the world is concerned. Now we go to the heavens. Section 6. So the Buddha said, now if you practice all these 5 qualities, then you say, look at 6.2. He hears that the devas of the 4 great kings are long-lived, beautiful, enjoying happiness. Then he said, wow, this is nice, I want to be reborn there. The 4 great kings. You see a monkey story, you see the 4 great kings, and they all go around. One of them hold a, Chinese version is hold a pagoda, and another one hold a fan or something, I don't think I want to have that kind of role. Tiring, although you hold. Wherever you go, you carry these things, and you wear the same uniform, Right? So you got to be prepared. It comes with your job, So those are the 4 great kings. Now who are the 4 great kings? They're gods, They are gods of the 4 directions. North, east, south were the 4 quarters. You see, in ancient time in India, the people thought that they can see the ocean, the circle, so they thought it's a disc, flat, right? What they saw is right, you see, but they didn't see everything. So they think that, okay, that's our world, okay? You go too far, you go to the horizon, there you fall over, Right? So they do not go too far. They try as far as they can, but anyway, none of them have fallen over the other side because there's no such thing. So they have this belief or understanding that the first heaven are the 4 great kings. The next one, anyone knows, after the 4 great kings, is the heaven of the 33, Tingkong's heaven, Tawatingsa. Okay. Now these 2 heavens, the 4 great kings and the heaven of the 33 gods, Tawatingsa, Tingkong's heaven, they are called earth-based heaven. They are very close to our world. Okay. They're very closely connected also, and they're always watching us. So whether you do good or bad, like now we study Sutta, they are watching. You can say hi to Lord Sakra. So they're watching you. Right? So this is why the Buddha in the Adipatiya Sutta, he says, foolish people do all kinds of bad things. They think nobody knows. But the first thing, they themselves know it. You yourself know it. So how can you pretend that you're not doing something bad? The Buddhas know what you're doing. The Devas also know what you're doing. The Buddha can know what you're doing. Because when you meet the Buddha, Buddha look at you and say, okay, this is what you did, and that's why it's happening to you now. Okay. The Devas, you can see them as aliens, so they have super technology out there. They can watch you. In fact, the story goes that every 8th day, the 4 great kings, they're watching us because they're very near Earth, so they'll be watching your conduct, your behavior, whether good or bad. Then they will report to one of the Devas in Tawatingsa, and then it goes to another Deva. They got the hierarchy, And then you have this Panchasika, who's the Sakra's deputy, will inform him. The story goes that these 4 great kings, they will write report on golden sheet, They got a lot of golden sheet, it seems. They write report and submit, So be very happy this will be recorded in those golden sheets. It goes to Lord Sakra, And Sakra will say, oh, this is good, this house is having a sutta study, okay, something like that. So they will protect us, hopefully. So that's the heaven of 33, right? 4 great kings, heaven of 33. Now they are basically like humans. They're still part of the sense world. There are 6 sense world heavens. Okay, they still have senses like us, but they don't have physical body. So they still have children like us, but they don't have physical body. Okay. So you imagine they're much more powerful. They're like aliens, in other words. Today we see all those Star Wars movies and so on, something like that. So you can be reborn there if you want. The Buddha says, okay, 4 great kings. But remember, 4 great kings, they are the lowest of the 6 sense world heavens. In fact, they're the lowest of all the heavens. Okay, they're closest to the earth. Their job is to protect the 4 quarters. The question now is, protect from what? This is the thing, because the other universes don't really bother our universe. Apparently, probably they protect from other beings who are not so kind to us. Maybe the Asuras, for example, because the Devas, Asuras, are always fighting, right? The Devas are the 33 gods, okay? And the Asuras are they once lived in the same heaven, but then they got overthrown. So this is another long story, So they got overthrown, and so they're very upset with Sakra, so they're always fighting him. So you want to be reborn in the kind of heaven, also up to you, you can, Then you have to join Sakra and start fighting all these Asuras and so on, right? So that is the next heaven of Tawatingsa, 33, so that's section 7. It's very interesting because I've been translating all these sutras about Sakra and so on. And you know what Sakra did? You see, Sakra, he is the God in heaven of the 33, which is the 2nd level from our world. He has 4 wives. Now remember, there are different society there. They don't have our law, see? It's a different kind of law there, okay? In fact, they have no laws, okay? They're all gods. So Sakra is like he's called the Lord of the Devas. So he's the highest of them, but there are 4 of them. And he's one of the leaders. He's the most popular, most respected. He's like Apollo in Greek mythology. So he already has 3 very good wives, Then all these wives are from past life, because he did very good deeds in the past life as a lay person. He did lots of public work, and he had 4 wives at that time also in India. Then later, this wife also did good deeds. They were reborn with him in the world of the 33. Now this 4th wife did not do good deeds because she felt that, I'm good enough, So when she died, she was not reborn in the heaven of 33. She was reborn as a crane in one of the hills. So I don't know why he was reborn as a crane, but anyway, it's a beautiful bird, but it's a bird. So Sakra said, where's this, my 4th queen? It's not here, So he surveyed the world and said, oh, she's reborn as a crane in the hills on earth, So you go down there and spoke to the crane. I suppose those days crane can speak also. So he said, why are you like this, Because he didn't keep the precepts. She didn't keep the 5 precepts. So Sakra taught her, said, you keep the precepts, okay? In other words, cannot eat fish, cannot eat live fish, okay? So she can only look for dead fish, So Sakra wanted to find out whether she really will keep the precept or not. And Sakra likes to do that, to be very careful. He will send Panchasika or one of those gods to disguise, and he himself disguised as a beautiful girl or some holy man come and test you, So be very careful. Say, hey, don't meditate, or come and join me for Mahjong. You be very careful. It's either Mara or Sakra trying to disrupt you. He's testing because he's afraid that you will take over his place. You become a high god there, you see? Right? So I told the fourth wife, so you keep the precepts, okay? Right? You just eat dead fish. So he wanted to test her whether she really followed the precept or not. So one day he changed herself into a fish, whether he lie down on the ground. So the wife, the crane, saw it, a fish, And she checked, is it dead? I said, no movement. So she thought it's dead. So she picked the fish in the mouth. And then Sakra, very clever, wiggled the tail a bit. And then the crane said, oh dear, it's alive. And he threw the fish back into the water. So Sakra knew this lady is serious, you see. Anyway, by her own practice, the precepts, she passed away. But somehow not strong enough with the precepts, She was reborn in one of the Brahmin family on earth. Beautiful girl, not in the heaven of 33. Remember, on earth, long time, but in Tawatingsa, just a few days on it. So Sakra waited, said, how come this girl still not here, this woman still not here? So this time he said, oh, she's reborn in the family of this Brahmin, So he has to come down again. He's not very sure where she's reborn, but he knows on earth. So he has to go down and look for her, all right? So what he did was he got some, I think it's some vegetables, so cucumber. So he says, okay, I've got jewels here, okay? But he didn't say jewels, it's the only cucumbers, right? You see, the world sees as cucumber, but actually the jewels in there. So people say, hey, I want to buy cucumber. I said, okay, have you been keeping 5 precepts? And you must be a girl. And said, what, 5 precepts? Never heard of 5 precepts. Okay, too bad, So he went through the town looking says, this is for a lady who keeps the 5 precepts. So nobody understood what he meant, see? Because there was no Buddha at that time. Then finally this girl got the message, said, oh, it must be for me, because she remembers, see? So she came forward, and then Sakra said, okay, finally I found you. You know how difficult it is for me. So she took her, said, okay, you please keep to the precepts, all right? So she did that. She passed away, and this time she's reborn in Tawatingsa, yes. But not as one of the queens of Sakra. She's reborn in the opposite camp, as the daughter of the leaders of the Asuras. The Asuras are the bitter enemies of the Devas. They're always at war, because of another long story which I'll tell you another time. So you imagine the father, what's the father's name was? Vepachiti. Vepachiti means mentally disturbed. Okay, yes, it means exactly just that. Because he went through a lot of problems. That's also another sutta story I'll tell you another time. So this Vepachiti has this beautiful daughter. And when she came of age, the father decided that it's time for her to get married. So there was an assembly of asuras. And this one thing good, they're quite open-minded, They asked the daughter to choose the husband. She has this bouquet, garland. She has to choose. So of course there are lots of young asuras there. These asuras are previously devas, right? Then Sakra knew that's the time he has to go and look for her, otherwise she'll be married, So Sakra is very good at disguising himself. So he disguised himself as an old asura. And he came down amongst the asuras. Then he's look at her. He says, oh, this is my old wife. So this is wonderful connection, And the wife looked at him also, this past karma ripened. And she felt this love for him. Remember, it's an old Asura. Okay? So this Asura lady threw the garland at this old Asura. And the other Asura said, what's happening? Why is she choosing an old man who can be his grandfather? Then Sakra came, carried her up, flew into the sky, and show his real self. Of course, the Asuras were very angry. Everyone rushed. They also got superpowers, so they chased him. You see, but everything was well planned. Sakra got his charioteer ready. Okay. The charioteer came, and then he got to the chariot and zap, he went back to Tavatingsa. And I think they are still there now. Okay? So that's the story of Sakra and his 4 queens. That's the heaven of the 33. Well, you can be born there if you like. It's a happy place, but Sakra is a stream winner, so it's okay for him. But if you're not a stream winner, you're reborn there. After that, your karma. You know why Sakra came down to see the Buddha? And this is recorded in the Sakka Panha Sutta, the questions of Lord Sakra. He realized that he will die. And the Devas are very scared of this impermanence because they know when they're going to die. And then they have all these negative thoughts. So they die with negative thoughts, they fall down to the unhappy states, lower states, below the human. From heaven to hell, man, you. Like playing Monopoly, go straight to jail, that kind of thing, you know. So when he found out that wow, he's going to die, he was terrified, very scared, you know. So he made every effort to see the Buddha, and this is recorded in the Sakkapanha Sutta. All right. So he purposely came and talked to the Buddha. Actually, in a sense, he cheated his way, so to speak. He got his musician Panchasika to play music to disturb the Buddha's meditation, and then talk to the Buddha, all the nice things about Sakra. And after that, because the Buddha likes Panchasika, who is a very good attendant, isn't it? And then through Panchasika, Sakra came to see the Buddha. Before that he came, but the Buddha refused to see him because his chariot was very noisy. He brought his chariot right very near to where the Buddha was meditating. It's like parking your car right outside the main door, you know. So the Buddha didn't say anything, kept quiet, so Sakra could not see the Buddha at that first time. The Buddha just said, Sakra asked the Buddha, said, did you know that I came first time and I wanted to see you? The Buddha said, yes, the door guardian told me, and that's all the Buddha said. You know? He said, oh yes, but your chariot wheels got me out of my meditation. So that was a very interesting hint the Buddha gave. That one we will learn under the Sakkamara Sutta another occasion. Okay, so Sakra is very happy on his own, and the 4 queens are they're very happy. So if you are reborn in the heaven of 33, you find the devas are still, most of the devas are still uncertain state. There is one kind of deva that they are called the Gandharvas. Gandharvas are heavenly musicians. They play music. Their job is to entertain the gods. Okay, and they're very beautiful. The men also very good looking. The women are called Apsaras, Achara or Apsara. You know, you see in the Chinese painting, you see those beautiful ladies floating in the sky. You know? Those are Apsaras, right? Those are the female Gandharvas. Gandharvas are the musicians. The Gandharvas, they are servants of the gods. So any monks who are reborn as Gandharvas will be looked down upon, because from being a monk they become servants of and slaves of the gods. So the Buddha said it's terrible. It's something a monk should not do, you know, because the idea of a monk is to become enlightened, you know, right? Not to become slaves of the gods, become servants of the gods, right? So this story also is mentioned in the Sakkapanha Sutta. Anyway, coming back to this sutta, my point here is, you can choose to be reborn in the heaven of the 33, very exciting place, very happy place. It's like being reborn in one of the IRS, Singapore if you like, but after a while you find it's quite boring, you know. Things keep repeating themselves, right? Alright, so next stage you can go higher. After that, things are a little different. What is the next stage?
Yamadeva.
What number is that?
8.2.
Oh, number 8. Oh, the Yama is a bit more serious. In fact, they are so serious we know nothing much about them except their name, Yama gods. These Yama gods are different from King Yama. King Yama is short A, Yama. This one is Yama. Okay, so these gods, they are very happy, very calm. All right, so you can choose to be born there also if you like. And now today I don't have my watch. You got to tell me the time. Is it time?
8:25.
Oh, okay. So a lot of time. All right. So these Yama gods are happy, serious. You can be born there also if you like, but it's impermanent. Then next one. Okay, next one is good. Very beautiful place. Section 9. So the Buddha continued and said, okay, if you choose to be, if you keep all these wonderful 5 qualities, you can say, oh, I want to be reborn in Tusita heavens. What is so wonderful about Tusita? The future Buddha is there now. Okay? He is in Tusita heavens. All these future Buddha, they will reside in Tusita. But he's not Buddha yet. So don't say things like, oh, I worship the future Buddha. He's not Buddha yet. He's still not even, technically he's not even Bodhisattva yet, so to speak, if you follow the historical way of talking. Because the historical Bodhisattva starts from the time he is born on earth. Of course, broadly speaking, you can call him Bodhisattva in the sense that, he's going to be Buddha. So he is there. Tusita are the contented gods. They're very happy, very contented. All right? So that's another world you can choose to be born. But again, they are impermanent. They have very long lifespan, but they still die anyway. And when they die, they're very scared. Or you can choose to go higher still. Section 10. And this time is the Nimanarati Devas. Can you see the bold print, the black print? The Nimanarati Devas. The Devas or the gods who delight in creating. Now this god, they got great psychic power. They can create anything in any color they want. Okay. I don't know whether they can create worlds or not, but they definitely can create a lot of things. So they're very powerful in that way. Okay. Then, by the way, Mara lives in this world. He lives in one of the areas. Okay. He also called Vasavati. And the interesting thing is the Lord, the High God in this place, also same name, Vasavati. Vasavati means the one with great power. Okay. So Mara is one of those powerful gods, right? So I don't think we want to be reborn there, right? Then you have the highest of the sense heavens. This is number 6, the highest one in the sense world. That's section 11. 11.2. He hears that the Paranimitta Vasavati Devas, the Devas who lord over the creations of others, are long-lived, beautiful, enjoying great happiness. So he wants to be reborn there. Paranimitta Vasavati. These gods are so powerful, they don't even have to create. They control the gods who create. So they tell the god, hey, create this for me, create that for me. So they're even more powerful. Alright? So that's the highest of the sense heaven. Now, all this heaven so far, no need meditation. You just keep those precepts, we can reach already. But the next one is the first dhyana world already. So that one you need some meditation. Okay? Now what's interesting here is meditation is not directly mentioned here. It comes under wisdom life, if you like. So you have the first jhana world. The first jhana world, they're called Brahmas. You see, normally we call them Brahmas. Brahma means perfect. They're also Devas. Devas is a general term, like the word gods, okay? Brahmas means they are at least the first jhana gods. So they are normal gods of the sense world, like our senses. They don't have a body like ours. Their form is pure, bright light. Okay? So this is the first jhana. and the leader of the goddess is called Mahabrahma. So here the sutta focus on this level. It says one kind of Brahma has got 1,000-fold world system, so he controls this world system. Now you may think this is imaginative, but if you watch all those Star Wars story, you find, oh, this is what those Star Wars are about. They are called system lords in the Star Wars story. Okay, system lords. So of course in the sutta they're called Brahmas. Okay, Mahabrahma. He under his control he has this 1,000 world systems. Not worlds, world system means in one world system there are many worlds, many planets and realms. In another sutta, the Buddha describes how huge these Brahmas are. For example, the Buddha says this Brahma, he just holds in his hand, walnut. Right? Okay, you can imagine what walnut is, candle nut. You know how candle nut looks like? I don't know what kind of nut it is. What kind of nuts that are very common locally? Like the red onion, if you like, okay? Small one, okay? So imagine there are 5 of them or 10 of them in his hand. So you can just look, that's his world. So he's huge, So he is a very powerful God, right? So, but he doesn't have our body, you see? So we are talking about these gods, their consciousness is like that. This imagination is amazing, In the Buddha described all this in detail. You don't find this kind of stories in other religions. The question is, where did the Buddha get all this imagination? Even if we talk about fiction, this is amazing, And all this are very systematic, So it must be the result of his meditation, right? Reflecting reality, Anyway, so they have the 1,000 world system. You can be born there, but again, they're all impermanent. Or you can choose number 13 to be born in the system of 2,000 world system, Brahma world. Or further down, section 14.2, the 3,000 world system. So these are bigger and bigger universes now. And then the 4,000 world, section 15. And then section 16, 5,000 world. And then further down, section 17, 10,000-fold world system. Oh, that's a huge world system. That means it's even more powerful, So this is also still first jhana realm, Notice it's a huge universe. And then 100,000-fold world system, section 18, even bigger still. Okay, that's the first jhana world. That means they are in very joyful, bright light. They exist in terms of bright light. Then second jhana, different kind of existence, slightly. Section 19.2. So the Buddha says you may hear about the devas of radiance, the Abha devas. So wow, these devas are beautiful. I want to be with them. Okay, you can join them, but then they also will pass away one day. So this is second jhana. They're very bright. And then this second jhana, the gods there, they're radiance, full of radiance, but they're different kind of radiance, different kind of lights. For example, in 20.2, their radiance is limited. Then 21.2, their radiance is boundless. And then 22.2, second jhana also, their radiance is streaming, flowing, very beautiful. All right? So these are the 3 kinds. Did I miss out anything here? 1, 2, 3. Okay, you got the Abha, first the radiant ones, and then limited radiance, and then boundless radiance, and then streaming radiance. In other words, their brightness becomes stronger and stronger. And then you can choose to say, okay, I heard about the third jhana gods, even higher still. And their bright light is even more beautiful. We don't call them light anymore, they're called Subha. Subha means beautiful, Subha Deva. Or glory, the devas of glory, they're really beautiful. Okay? I don't know how to describe this. I mean, if you like those K-pop boys, or I don't know, they're boys or girls, or your favorite movie actor, or whoever you think is beautiful, you picture this very beautiful, handsome person. The gods are 100 times better than that. Really beautiful, right? So that's the kind of world. And then you have the gods of limited glory, 24.2. 25.2, the gods of boundless glory. 26.2, the devas of radiant glory. So here their beauty is even greater still. And then you come to the fourth dhyana. Now, fourth dhyana is a tricky place. Fourth dhyana is very peaceful. So 27.2, you have the devas of abundant fruit, Vihapala. So there nothing much is known there because they're all in deep meditation, very joyful. Okay. And then, can you see after 27.4, the realm of non-conscious beings? This is not mentioned in the sutta. I just add this in to tell you there is that state. No one wants to be born there because they're all non-conscious there. Once you are reborn there, no consciousness. You go into likewise called hibernation, deep hibernation, right? The moment a thought rises, you fall from that state. So it's not a very nice state to be born in. Nothing happens. It's as good as dead, actually. All right? Anyway, then comes the pure abodes. Now, there's something interesting here. The Buddha says you can actually be born there, but we know that only non-returners are born there. So, in a sense, the Buddha is right. You want to be born there, you got to become a non-returner, is it? So that is the pure abodes, section 28, 28. Then the names of the pure abodes are mentioned there. Okay, the first is called Aviha, and then Atapa. 30.2 Sudasa. Sudasa means good to look at. Okay, and then 31.2 Sudasi. Also means nice to look at in English. And then 32.2 Akanita. This is the highest of the pure abodes. But again, the Buddha says it's not really suitable for us to be born. I mean, you can be born there, but you won't last long there if you're not a non-returner. Finally comes the last four formless jhanas, the highest. In these four formless jhanas, they don't have form. You can't see them, no bright light even. They exist in pure energy. For example, right now as we are sitting here, there's a lot of energy in the air. For example, the phone waves. You don't see them, but you got the phone, you get all these waves. So they exist like that. All right. So the first one, 33.2. He is called the devas of the realm of infinite space. So they always have their mind is they feel that space is endless. Very happy feeling. Okay. And then the next world, number 34, section 34, is infinite consciousness. So here their meditation is very deep. Consciousness is endless to them. Okay. And then 35.2. He hears that the devas of the realm of nothingness are long-lived and so on. So here their mind has no object, very happy, very peaceful. It's called the realm of nothingness. And then the last one, 36.2. He hears that the devas of the realm of neither perception nor non-perception are long-lived, long-lasting, enjoying great happiness. Okay, this one, the devas here, their consciousness is very, very subtle. So subtle that you cannot say it exists or not exists, that kind of level. Their mind. So they're totally happy. But still, although their lifespan is very long, very, very long, but still they will have to die. So now comes the Buddha's message. He says you can choose to be reborn any of these. Look at 37. Again, bhikshus, a monk is accomplished in faith, moral virtue, spiritual learning, charity, and wisdom. This occurs to him, what now? If, having realized them for myself, through direct knowledge, right here and now, I would attain and dwell in the influx-free freedom of mind, freedom by wisdom, with the destruction of the mental influxes. In other words, why do I awaken, become an arahat? I'm not reborn in any of the previous heavens. So this is what the Buddha is saying. The wisest amongst you, the Buddha says, will be the one who think in this way. Why don't I awaken? Why should I be reborn in samsara again, get caught and then go up, go down like snakes and ladders and suffer? Might as well attain arahathood, pass away. Yeah? So the Buddha says, he goes into that practice, and then 37.4, this monk bhikshus does not arise anywhere at all. Right? It's not reborn in any of those beautiful states. So this is called anticlimax. All right, the Buddha tells you all the beautiful heavens, and you say, "Oh, they are not very safe." Okay, so the Blessed One said this: "Satisfied the monks rejoice in the Blessed One's word." Okay, so there you are, the Buddha's word on rebirth. Okay, we have a few minutes. You can open to questions, or anything you want to ask about our study today. In fact, there are lots of stories to tell you about the sakra and so on, but we'll leave it to another time.
These are all real things.
Well, it's recorded in the suttas, still in the suttas. We take them as mythology. In other words, they are real in terms of how we live. They are real in terms of our common behavior. It's not real of one person, but it's real through our centuries of community, the people, how we behave. For example, all the Chinese stories. No? Okay, any questions? Yes.
Besides this rebirth in human realm, then you got bracket 3 rebirth. What does that mean?
What page? What paragraph is that?
Any of the statements. Like for example, page 72, you have rebirth in the human world, you got 3 rebirth. Rebirth in a sense-based divine world, you got 6 rebirth. What is the number of the rebirth means?
You mean all those numbering on the left-hand side? Those are paragraph numbers. The paragraph numbers, and then sometimes there are, you see small numbers, that means the notes at the bottom of the page. Okay. Oh, okay. You see brackets 7, 8. Okay, so you start with 1. You look for where is 1. Okay, there is no 1 because 1 is the lower, the hells and so on. So this one, the heavens start with number 5, right? 5A, 5B. So number 6 is what heaven? 4 great kings, Okay. So these are the following the sequence of the heavens, Okay. So number 6 is the 4 great kings. 7 is the what do you call 33 devas. So this is where it's a picture of the whole world according to early Buddhism. Number 1 is right at the bottom, the hell state, and then preta, animal, human. That's 4 already. And then 5 would be the 4 great kings, and the 6 are 33, and so on. So it goes like that. I don't know. There you can see on 5A there is a footnote at 34 explaining it actually. Now you say, can you see note 34 there? This numbering in parentheses, can you see?
Yes.
So that's the explanation. There you are. So whenever you're not sure, you follow the sequence until you come to the first one. I will normally explain, usually first one.
Okay, I have another question.
Yes.
Are the asuras residing in the heavenly realms?
Okay, yeah. Well, since there's time, I will tell you about the asuras now. I got to tell the story of Sakra first. Sakra is actually like a title. See? So when Sakra passes away, a new being with good karma takes over. Like the Buddha, you have different Buddhas. So our present Sakra, in his last life, he was a young man called Magha, M-A-G-H-A, Magha. And he was a prince actually. So he decided to do social work, good work. For example, he decided to level the roads so that travelers be comfortable. He planted trees for them so that those days you don't have roads like ours. So roads are dusty and very warm. So he planted trees to shelter them from the hot sun, from the rain, and dig wells for them to drink water, and then build a rest house for them to rest, and so on. So he did all these good deeds. And he was challenged. The headman was jealous, tried to get into trouble, tried to get the king to punish him. Despite that, he showed metta. See? Then, when he was doing all this work, 33 other young men also decided to join him. He said, "Wow, what are you doing?" He says, "I'm building a road to heaven." So the 33 youth said, "Yeah, I'd like to join you." So they became good friends, and they also decided to do good works. See, this is a story you must tell you all, right? So you all come together here as good friends, So you'll be reborn in heaven together, for example, something like that, all right? So, this Magga became Sakra. He was called Sakra, okay? And then you have the 3 other gods. I do not know all their names, right? But it is found in the Sakapana Sutta. When Sakra is very devout. He keeps the precepts and so on, okay? When he was a layman. But when he became a god, he was a bit more mischievous, okay? But anyway, so when he arrived together with the 33 gods in the new heaven, there were the old gods there, okay? So these old gods, of course, they welcome him, welcome Sakra and company. They say, let's have a drink. So they were enjoying all this 7-day drink, which then Sakra said, Sakra quietly told his 33 friends, said, don't touch this drink because it will make you drunk. So he knew that. So to that point, he is serious now. He keeps the precepts. But then he was a bit of a politician. He's not really awakened yet, not even a stream winner. So he was not too happy to share this realm, the 33, with these old gods. So he said, when they are drunk, we will kick them out of Tawatingsa. Literally. Okay, you must imagine heaven like this, so you kick them off, So of course this story is very funny. So the Asuras got kicked off Tawatingsa, which is high above Mount Meru. You got to imagine that is what's called the cosmic mountain. It's like Mount Olympus. Although Mount Olympus is a mountain in Greece, but the real Olympus is in the heavens, you see. So Sakra and company pushed threw all these gods down, the old gods from the heavens. So they fell. They're gods, remember, so they don't really die, but they fall. They're still subject to gravity. It's a long fall. So halfway they all came to. They realized, oops, we are falling. These gods have overthrown us, They say, we were drunk. From now on, we will not drink anymore. What is the word for drink? Your 5th precept? Sura, right? So they became Asura. They said, no more drinks. Asura. Okay? So that's how they got the name, first meaning, Asura. Because they said no more drinks. Because they were overthrown by the young gods because they were drunks. And the word Asura, the word Sura also means brave. So from the word Sura, in Sanskrit is Sura, longer. Then Surya is the sun. So Sura is also means God. Yeah? So Asura means non-God. Now this is where many of these stories you see in the Buddhist mythology are very similar to the Greek mythology. You see, in the Greek mythology also, you have the young gods with Apollo and so on and Zeus. They took over Olympus. They were the old gods there with Saturn, Uranus and so on. They all got overthrown. The old gods got overthrown and the new gods took over. Because all these stories came together with the Aryans. The Aryans were the tribes in Central Asia. One tribe is called the Yueqi. So they almost conquered China, So the Chinese gave them the name of Yueqi, okay? So they all traveled south. Some of them went to India. They became the white-skinned Indians. And then another group went to Persia. another one Greece, Italy, Germany, Northern Europe, and so on. So these are called the Indo-Aryan languages. So English also very similar to Sanskrit, for example. So this became a family of languages. So this is something the colonialists found out, that the language is very similar. So they noticed, wow, this comes from a common family of languages called Indo-Aryan. So Sanskrit, Pali, English, Italian, Roman, Spanish, German, and so on, they come from the same family. So you find many words are similar. Okay, for example, the word Raja in Malay, Raja means king, and in Pali and Sanskrit also Raja. But then it's also pronounced as Raj. Then in Latin became Rex, and then the feminine is Rajina. Rajina in Sanskrit is Rajini. See? So they're very similar, things like that. Okay. Anyway, so the Asuras fell from the heavens, and they had to settle at the bottom of the mountain, this cosmic mountain. So there they live there, they have their own realm. And then the story goes that they have this heavenly tree, which the roots are in the realm of the Asuras at the bottom of the mountain, but the tree grows very high. And it blossoms in the heaven of the 33. And that's the kind of fruit that gives the gods long life, eternal life. Now you see this in monkey story. Monkey started eating all this. They call, in the Chinese story, it's peaches, But here, this tree is called the wish-fulfilling tree. So when you take this fruit, you become gods. You have all those powers. So these asuras, when this tree flowers and ripens, they know this. You see. So one version of the story is that they want to get the fruits, you see, of this tree. So they will go back to Tawatingsa and they fight, but the gods will challenge them and fight. So they fight each other, you see. So, but they never win because the gods are more powerful. So what they did was, they're determined to get the fruits. So they tried to chop the tree down and to get those fruits. But if you chop the tree down, that's all you get. After that, the tree will die, you see. So the asuras represent something what we today call killing the golden goose. All right, so you have all this very beautiful meaning to all this stuff. So that's one meaning. Then, so asuras, they also are represented as very fierce, demon-like devas. That's why they're not called devas; they're called asuras, but they're very fierce. Later on in Buddhist psychology, they represent those people, or those, you can say people even, whose mentality are very exploitative. Let's say you have a bad boss, and he look at you, and you get sick, or say, you better come. You don't come, I'm going to throw you out, So they don't care about you. They only care, they measure you. What's that, KPI and stuff like that. They don't care about you as a human. They just, production. How much are you worth? How much money can you bring me? That's called asura attitude. Not very good. Okay, so when they die, they become asuras. So we have this kind of psychology types. So asura is one of them. So it's a very interesting story in this case. All right, this asura. You want to read more? You can look up. In fact, this Google also nowadays they have all this. Yes.
So which means that this asuras is not in the woeful plane, woeful rank.
Yeah, this is okay. Another interesting point. They are caught in between heaven and earth. Okay, they're not really in heaven. They have their own. It's still part of the earthbound heaven, if you like, but it's much lower than heaven of 33. In the Mahayana tradition, I think they put asuras in the suffering states, part of the suffering states. But this is not so in the Pali Suttas. It's an uncertain state in between. They were devas, but they're not enjoying all the privileges. Okay, so they are represented as beings who are very fierce and exploitative. So no, I would say they're not part of the actual suffering states. Right? You won't see them listed so in the Pali Suttas. But they are, it's not a happy state. Nobody wants to be born there because they're always fighting, they're very fierce.
Buddha mother
Sorry?
born Buddha.
Ah.
Mother born in the parent of the
Mother born to Sita. To Sita, right? Yeah?
Because when we know that Buddha went to the physical heaven to take him to the mother. To Sita?
No, my mother is born to Sita. To Sita. To Sita heaven, not 33. The 33 gods are very worldly. So it's unlikely.
Tell me about this because remember,
Ah.
Buddha went to the physical heaven.
Okay, you better get the story right. The Buddha went there so that the gods of the 33 can also benefit. If the Buddha went to Tusita, the mother is there, but then the gods of the lower heavens cannot go up, you see, but the gods of the higher heaven can come down. So that's why the Buddha went to Tawatingsa to teach. And then the mother came down. That's how the story got mixed up from there. Okay. Yeah, alright. So it's
What happened to your mother now? Is still there?
I suppose so. Yeah, long live the life's very long.
The next Buddha.
No, different. It's a different. Because the Buddha is not born yet. The future Buddha is not born yet. No, she won't be a different person. Yeah. So she's a Maya Devi over there. So this, of course, hopefully that she will practice, and become awakened. Otherwise, will go through the suffering state as well. Okay. Any other questions? Yeah.
Since those people who have people gain rebirth in higher ranks, and then since they reside there for such a long time now, so to achieve the Sonapanna for 7 rebirth or the one eternal, if appear they have been in heaven for such a long time now, so is it best that come back to the human world to practice and
get if they can do that, it's wonderful. Some of them actually do that. Okay, but most of them forget because they enjoy. It's like you go for Club Med and stay there for 7 years and you forget all about other things. So they tend to forget. Yeah, but yes, it's possible. It's possible. That's why the Buddha is very important. So when you meet the Buddha, then the Buddha reminds them that easy for them to meditate also. Yeah, so many of these saints, for example, like Sariputta, Moggallana, they also were devas many times before. So they are more prepared. When you listen to the Buddha say just once, they understand already. So this is what we are doing now. We are preparing ourselves to understand. So if we don't, then next time you hear someone talk Dhamma, I say, what's that? I don't know what it is. Every time blurs, then you end up in the subhuman world, is it? So we don't want that. So we've got to prepare ourselves so that we understand what people are talking about. We don't need much knowledge. Important thing is you see the key words and so on. So next time you hear the teacher talking, you understand. See? We have the language. Because you don't know the language, you can't communicate. See? Yeah. So we are preparing to be free of suffering. That's another way we can look at it.
One last question.
Sure.
Christian talk about those Almighty God. So does the God fall within this?
Yeah, this is very interesting, I mean, you can think that the idea of the Christian God fits into the Paranimitta Vasavati Devas, the gods who control other gods. Possible, you see? But then it's not a very high God. The Christian will never accept that. They say, oh, no, he's the biggest of them all, you see? You see, what I notice is this, when we talk about mythology, okay, I thought of writing this reflection, but still it is floating around in my mind. You look at all the stories of different religions, the Indian religions, their gods, they are like the Greek gods, very playful and so on. So their human being also like that, very playful. Okay, you go to China, their gods are not that strong. So the Chinese peasants also not that strong. Okay? And then you go to the hell, there are the 10 courts of hell. See, in India, there's only one, that's King Yama. But when Yama was brought to China, the Chinese theologians, the Chinese Buddhists, invented 10 other hells under Yama. See? So you got 10 courts, and those are like 10 kings. They're all called kings also. And they are like the emperor's, what do you call it? Servants, judges. So they judge the dead just like the way the Chinese judge would judge the living. So we used to say as in heaven, so on earth, right? But in China, as on earth, so in heaven. It's the other way around. So in a lot of, my point is, if you study different religions, you find the stories they tell people in their religion often reflect their own behavior. So if you look at the Buddhist stories, you find Sakra keeps his precepts, right? So we are supposed to follow his example. So it's a very moral life, keeping precepts, right? The Christian God is very powerful, he wants to be alone, conquer everything. So the believers also have the same idea. They want to conquer the world and so on, because they feel that they have the one God. They cannot tolerate other gods. And if you don't believe you are not human, we can conquer you and convert you and so on. So this is very interesting how their mythology shows their inner behavior, how they think, how they act. So this is a very important way to get clues how they behave. Okay? Alright, so I think we end here, no? Okay? So let us just spend a quiet moment. We should remember when we're gathered here, we're not only building up our friendship, but we're also building up good karma. We're building up our strength. We are cutting down the forest, clearing the path, so that slowly we come nearer and nearer to the path that leads to nirvana, the path of awakening. So every minute we are here, every time we practice and we remember all these teachings, we are protected from any distraction, wrong path and so on. Reflecting in this way is very good karma. By the power of this good karma and by the truth of the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha, may we be well and happy, so that we are blessed with good health, strength, wisdom to practice the Dhamma. And also we have the courage and wisdom to aspire at least to attain stream winning in this life itself. And also may our relatives and loved ones be well and happy, and they too come closer to the three jewels in this life itself. May those who are practicing the Dhamma to find to fruition, come to fruition, realize the path in this life. May those who are lost to return to the true path in this life itself. May all beings be well and happy. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.